Good morning, guys. Just kind of picking up a few things here to get ready to nap a little bit. I'm running a little bit behind this morning. Good morning, DJ. How you doing? Sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to make sure I keep all my tools together. At least we kind of have an idea where they're at. In these chip piles like this, you can lose tools and stuff pretty easy, and it gets thrown into the pretty rock garden, and we don't want that with some of our favorite tools for sure. Terry Roseberry, good morning. How you doing this morning? Trying to get these hands to working this morning. Wide open, he says. Yes, I'm liking this weather that we're having, Terry, for sure. It got me thinking of being in a creek somewhere or looking for mushrooms or something. I like it. Do a little bit of. This is that piece that we were working on yesterday, towards the end. It's just some of my self-collected material. It's got a kind of a quartz vein that runs through it. I really need to find some darker material. You guys, it's harder for you to see a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about on this lighter colored stuff. The shadows don't show up as well. And that's kind of how you can see the valleys and the humps and the stuff in the rocks. So I will see if I can come up with some dark material to work tomorrow. I need to work some more of your Horse Creek, Terry. I have a couple of pieces set aside that as soon as when I'm having one of those good days, spectacular day, I'm gonna tear into some of that and make another beautiful point. Right on. Yeah, I may work some of that, Terry. I don't know. I don't have any right here, but I may dig some out here in a bit or something. Once we get this biface down, I'll probably set it aside. We'll pick up something else. I'm hoping that I've got an idea of what I'm gonna do. I've got a separate camera rig here or boom that I can set up. I'm gonna start, like, when I get down to the pressure flaking stage of the. Hey Chris, good morning. Then when I get to that point that you'd have a different angle and you could really see. Good morning, right back to you, man. I mean, if I'm included in the beautiful people, I don't know. I've been told I have a great face for radio, so you know. But thank you. I hope you're doing well this morning. Oh, that jump. You could feel it, or probably see it, how it recoiled when I hit that. Just trying to hook a hold, get a hold of that little edge. And a lot of times I'm trying to grab a hold of, like, Terry. Yeah, anytime you want to, brother. I mean, I've got a couple of good chunks set back, but you know, we need to talk. Send me a message, and we can work out some kind. Because I don't want you to keep having. I mean, it's expensive to send that stuff all the time, dude. We'll get together and talk about it. So send me a message to remind me. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. You know, I had to apologize the other day. I got a little bit fired up. You know, I had somebody come in and was basically telling me how to do what I do, and I got a little butthurt about it, and consequently didn't do as well on the point as I should have, because it rattled me a little bit. And so that was one of those opportunities for self-improvement, to kind of look into, you know, why did that make me mad? And so I apologize to anybody that was in here when I got a little jerky with that person. Don't get me wrong, I'm all about some constructive criticism, but you know, I don't necessarily invite people to come in and just, yeah, probably so, Chris. It's, you know, it's one of those deals that's like, you know, I'm not going to come into anybody's live and just start telling them how to do what they do. Right on. Well, I'll tell you what, Terry. We'll, like I said, get with me and we'll chit chat about it. But send me a message if you can, like, you know, here in a little bit, to remind me, because I'll get wrapped up in something else. I'm getting ready to start making phone calls about house stuff and all that. We're getting ready to really get deep into building a house. So, Damien, good morning. And I don't want to forget. Let me get warmed up on this, and I'll go there. Are you going to be able to be in here for a while today, Terry? If you are, then I'll go over here and dig out a piece of Horse Creek, and we'll work that. Because I feel like I'm pretty on my game today, or it doesn't feel, it's weird. Sometimes you can just tell real quick when I say I'm on my game, because I'm not advertising that I'm going to make a killer. I'm just saying that everything feels like it's in time. Yep, me too. Well, and you know, Chris, there were a couple of people that basically said that to this person. They were like, "You should probably just be quiet and watch." I'll tell you what, Terry, we'll wait until you can spend more time in here, because in 30 minutes, I mean, I can do some of the first stuff, but you don't get to see all the cool flakes. And I know that's the ones you like to watch. So we will, let me dig through there. How about tomorrow? Are you going to be covered up pretty hard tomorrow, or? Because I definitely don't want to encourage you. I know you're driving a truck, and oh, you'll be busy. Right on. That'll work perfect then, Terry. I'll work on this till you get back in here, and then I'll pick up let me reach over here and grab my water bucket real quick. Whoop. I've got several pieces stuck down in here. But yeah, you go get your stuff done. I'll pick a piece out, and then when you get back in, Just say, hey, I'm back in here. And I will, I'll pick it up and start working on one. I'm trying to soak a little bit of my local stuff that I've picked up. I think I found a vein that's associated with like the Keokuk chert or Peoria. This is the higher grade. It works raw, but it's pretty tough stone. So I wanted to see if soaking it. Brizzo, good morning. I wanted to see if soaking it would help it because it's tough. Ooh, there's a beauty. That one's a little bit rougher, but it's got a lot of nice color. What do you think, Terry? You want to see that one when you come back in? Chris, the water, thank you, Terry, for pinning that. Okay, we'll set this one aside, but on, well, from what I understand, Buffalo River, but Horse Creek, which is similar, it's out of this kind of the same formation. As it dries out, it gets really hard and chalky. It doesn't soften the stone, but what it does, in my opinion, Chris, and this is just that, and $1.25 you can go get a cup of coffee with it at McDonald's. But you know how sound travels in water faster than it does in air because the water is more dense. Sound is an energy wave, and that's what we're putting into this rock when we hit it is an energy wave. That's what that ripple is, and that's why it goes out concentrically from the point of impact. If you look at a perfect cone fracture, it's a single spot, and then it goes out in about 100 to 110 degree cone. Imagine that being like the ripples on a pond. So as this material dries out, if it's not homogeneous, if it's not like really tight grained, then you're developing air in between that. In between, the molecular, on a molecular level, because this stuff, as it dries out, gets harder and harder to nap. And what I believe, hey, Aero Sniper, how you doing this morning, Josh? I believe that by keeping the water in the rock, or the hydration of the rock, that it's transferring the energy. Yeah, we're going to work this one. It's wet right now. It's kind of a coarser grade of Horse Creek. This was sent to me by Terry. Absolutely, Chris. Now, yeah, GMC, good to see you in here this morning. But now, I don't know that that's the scientific reason, Chris. I don't have a PhD or anything on but my take on it is that the drier it gets, the more air you have in there, and energy will travel through the water, the denser material, better than it does the air. So, right on. Well, that's what we're going to do. So, Terry, you'll get to listen to me talk about seams and all kinds of stuff, but I'll set this aside. And when you get back in here, we'll start working it. But this is that really kind of coarse grade. It's going to be beautiful. It's got some of the cool colors in it. The red's up here, but most of it's going to be this pumpkin pie, orangey kind of color. So it is right there. Let me see if there's a backup here just to make sure. This is another nice piece of it. I'll set these two out, and if we have a seam, that's the deal with this stuff is very similar to like my the reed springs that I have around my area. You may get into this rock and 2 hits into it, I can already see a seam right here that's across there, but if they're healed up, then it's fine. It's the ones that aren't that get you. So we've got a couple of those set aside. So all kinds of stuff in there. So we'll work a little of that here in a... Terry said he's covered up for about 30 and then he's going to be back in, so we will work some more of that. Likened to the speed of impact, might shatter. Yep. A lot of shell fossils in your local stuff. And now, Josh, now are you in, is it Indiana or Ohio? I'm sorry, somewhere in that area? Probably got a lot of Burlington church, like a limestone type church in your area, I would imagine. Yeah, southeastern Ohio. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of limestone church, and you're going to get some fossils and that kind of stuff. I really like. I don't know if this is raw. I think it is. I've got some that was some more. I don't even know what type of Burlington, or it's kind of. I was gifted some of it from a friend of mine that's from that. He's from Illinois. Now this is a killer piece of. You can see the. This looked to me, David, the guy that gave it to me, took a couple of flakes off of it, but it looked to me like it was almost like a quarry blank, like this was kind of intentionally knocked down to this point and then dropped for whatever reason. And I think seams maybe or whatever, but right on, GMC. I'd like to hear that. Like to hear that. Get you guys into it. Start making some points. It's a great, pastime, hobby. I'm getting ready to, I tell you, let me show you this. I've been working on it. I was going to go live last night, but I just did not. I was just tired, so I did not. But I have been working on this rabbit stick, and you can see I just about try to get it at an angle. I've got a little bit more of the dome or the thickness to take off this, but I've been test throwing this thing, and I'm actually really impressed with it. I'm looking forward to. I've got a little bit more, like I said, this dome off the top that'll create more lift, and this thing's already starting to hover. Oh well, I appreciate it, GMC. I mean, I'm glad I could help. That's why why I do this. I love to be able to share it with people. So, anyway, I should have this is getting closer to flat, and I'll get a little time throwing it. I haven't thrown stuff in a long time, and at the first couple of throws, I know I look like I was about a 3-year-old kid trying to throw something. So, just don't have quite the need to throw stuff, I guess, anymore. Yeah, I'm telling you, Josh, the couple of times that I threw this, it's getting closer to that hover that they get. You can see it's the bottom's flat on it, and then you got this slightly domed to flat top, and what it does is it creates lift. It's the same as like a Frisbee works or a. Yep, that's what happens to me, Bennett. But the lift that this thing creates when you throw it and it's spinning, it's just like a Frisbee. It'll actually go out there and have a rise to it. DJ, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like I said, I don't know, to me, flint knapping, it's kind of like golf. If you're into it, you can watch it. But if you're not, it's a little difficult. So I appreciate you watching and not knowing anything about it. Feel free to ask questions anytime you want, DJ. That's what, like I said, that's why I'm doing this. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, but I won't. Oh, that's what I'm saying, Arrow Sniper, and I hope you don't take it. I'm not trying to, coattail on your jam there with the trick shots or anything. I want to try to. Yeah, Chris. Then that's what it takes to be able to do. To get to be able to really put the time in is really what it takes. And if you've got that kind of drive to do it, then you will succeed. It's not a. Right on. And GMC, where are you at? What kind of creek shirt did you? Is it like a Burlington? But yeah, Josh, I'm not. I'd like to be able to show, some really cool. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get to your level with all these different primitive tools, but I'd love to see. I'd like to see some, kind of nifty trick shots with the primitive stuff. So, and still keep it, TikTok friendly, because I thought about doing like a little, we've got all kinds of pasture here around the house and more squirrels and rabbits and stuff than you can shake a stick at, But I know that they kind of frown on any kind of violent type stuff, so I figure I can set up some kind of setup that you guys will, be able to see what it can do. All right. Yeah, right there on that little crack, it kind of developed that flake didn't want to go across that crack, and you can see it. It's a healed seam, but I've been kind of babying along. I'm going to try to take this area right here of mass. Oh, absolutely, Chris. It is the best teacher, because that's what I tell people. If you win all the time, you don't change what you do, And if the failing is what drives us. I don't know what kind of rock, DJ, is up in Michigan. I mean, I'm not familiar with the geology there, but I tell you there is, and I can't think of the name of it, and you guys will probably know. What is the... Well, I appreciate that, Josh, because like I said, I'm not, because, man, you do some of the shots that you pull off. There's, I'm not trying to, trying to coattail or anything off what, I just trying to come up with a way to show the effectiveness of those tools, and having made those. I've filmed some of it, but I haven't filmed a lot of it, because this is just, it is just tedious, a lot of this. A lot of scrape, look down, but white sugar quartz. Huh, now I know that, yeah, Joe Bob, I've got a buddy that sent, he's not in here right now, Bubba, East Mississippi Headhunter, sent me a bunch of Tallahassee quartzite, and it is some tough stuff, and then I've got some Hickston quartzite, that comes from, I think it's Wisconsin, that the paleo peoples of that area really, really liked. So I like working the tough material. I just can't do it for days on end. I tried that with, can you use, I don't know what that is, DJ, but I was getting ready to ask you, which is that the stone that, there's some of it up there that when you hit it with a black light, it glows orange. And I don't know what that's called, but I'd just about order some of that just because I think that's so cool. Corundum. And I don't know what the corundum is now. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the geology up there, other than I've seen some videos where people have... Joe Bob, are you talking about the stuff that glows in the black light? Because if you are, then yeah, send me a message. I want to talk to you. Because yeah, Cooper Light. That's what it is. Thank you for that. I think it was that Brandon that said that, or it went by really quick. Sorry. Bennett, thank you, guy. I appreciate it. Thank you for the gifts. But yeah, I think that Cooper Light or whatever it is with the where it glows orange. I've seen some of them yellow, and yeah, that's the stuff. Yeah, I mean, seriously, send me a message if you've got some of that and you want to. We'll see if we can't work out some kind of something. Because I think that stuff is really cool. And I've seen a bunch of people that look for it on the shores at night with the black lights. It just, you know, I just think it's neat. See, I'm just trying to roll that up over that little. There's a pretty steep hill there. I'm trying to build some convexity to get into that area there, that defect. Don, good morning. Stone and bone napping. That's what I like to hear. Sounded like the rich man. The rich man. Napping the rock. Any of you guys that are a little older will remember the skit from Saturday Night Live back when it was really funny. See, we worked on that to get that. Right on, Don. But yeah, we just worked down to where we could get an angle underneath that area right there. You can see where the platform that I set up and the angle I pushed it, and just took that right off there. Awesome, Don. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Now, are you going to pick it up, like as in collect it yourself, or do you have some place that you're going to get some from someone? That's awesome, Don. Very cool. Well, do you have like a bopper with you to test something like a heavier big size like a Spalding one? Because what you're going to want to do as you're picking that stuff up is you're just going to tap the corner, find the thin end of it, and just tap a corner off of it, just a little flake, just to test for the quality of it. Now, I'm telling you this is a tidbit that you will don't bring a rock home just because it looks pretty, because you want to make sure that quality is there, because you will carry home a lot of gravel pretty rocks. I have done it, and if I could keep you from bringing 50 pounds of rock home and getting 4 out of it, then I'd be happy for you, because I have carried buckets home when I first started of rock that looked good, and ended up getting like 1 or 2 pieces out of the whole bucket. So test it before you put it in the bucket to bring home. Make sure it's got that quality. Tap it to make sure you don't hear any cracks in it, and if it is cracked, tap it until it comes apart, so you know what you got. Because otherwise you'll run a risk of bringing home a lot of unusable stone, and that's always frustrating, especially if you're going on a trip somewhere to get it. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, make sure you test it before you bring it home. Now, is that a rock that you're going to want to heat treat, or is it just raw that you're going to work right out of the ground? Because I'm not familiar with the material. There was a good cleaning flake. You can see how we're working. Now, you guys, DJ, I don't know if amethyst is nappable. To tell you the truth, I've never tried it, but a lot of crystals are, just depends. But amethyst is pretty expensive material. I don't think I want to try to bust it, because I think that's like a jewelry quality. Yep, absolutely, Rick, and that's Bennett. If you would, on my profile, if you go right up here and click on that, and it takes you to my profile page. Zach, good morning. I've got a video that's pinned at the very top of my videos of the whole setup of this. It's about 4 minutes long if you want to check it out. And then if you want to come back in and then ask some more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. You're very welcome. Yeah, that one dug a little bit into that spot next to it. That was my bad. But didn't hurt anything. It just put a little line in there that I don't like. There's a nice flake that went from there to this side here. Just a nice contouring, clearing flake. Oh, I didn't know about that. Right on, Zach, thank you. Thank you for that. Well, I can really tell when I start working my local stuff, and it feels, you get accustomed to the way a material works and what it'll take and all that kind of stuff, and it just most of the time behaves the way you want it to. Well, that got real thin real quick there. Try to blend that in so it's not. I'm just going back and forth on this, trying to get these. There you go, Bennett. Right on. Well, like I said, if you've got any questions, ask me. I mean, that's why I posted the video of it, so you could see the setup. It just works for me with my back and my sciatic issues that I have. That after the injury, this has saved me from being. I mean, I can now nap for longer periods of time because it's just not as physically rough on me. So. And you can see the results. I got a little bit of mass right there we need to take off, but see how thin that's getting. We're getting ready to work through this chattery spot here. Yeah, that spot right by that quartz line is trying to be difficult there. It's crushed a couple of times there. Let's see if we can teach it a lesson like that. Yeah, see where that quartz line, it jumped even. You can see this little spot where it kind of jumped and hit that quartz line and then continued on. So kind of got lucky there that it didn't stop and maybe break the piece. So hopefully it's pretty solid. I hit through that one. Hit it too hard. Good night. Bent Creek, good morning. All right, let's see if we can. I'm going to try to get this to run from this platform here and kind of come into this area to isolate this. I've got a little bit of mass over here. It's going to be a little bit of a pain to get out, but this will help a little bit right here to take some of that mass off of it. Well, that just crushed another platform. It tried to go and then it just stopped. Go the other direction with it a little bit. I'm just working on this. I got somebody that's supposed to be back in here in a little bit, and we're going to work on some Horse Creek chert, guys. There you go. Well, this is pretty tough here. But I'm going to work on some Horse Creek. Got a couple of pretty decent pieces to work, it looks like. Of course, they've all got seams in them, seems like, but okay, I'm trying to get this platform set to this face. But you can see how it's still kind of wavy and it's up and down, and there's a lot of little. You see how that concavity right in here, how it doesn't, it kind of scoops in. I want it to be convex there. So we'll come back with like a little bit of a sharper pressure flaker tool. I'm just going to turn the edge. I'm not trying to push them. I'm just turning that edge again back to the other side, but you'll see just these little downward flakes like this, what it does to the convexity of this. You want these to come off as clean as you can get them to. I've worked some rhyolite too. I've got a Bent Creek, I've got a biface that I've used now as a, well, I don't use it much anymore, but as a isolating platforms and stuff on finer work. But that is that's about as good as I can get with some rhyolite, as far as, you know, thin and wide with flakes going all the way across it. But I've got several pieces of it. I like to use it for peck and grind. Veed is making you famous. Oh, is that with the gift that you made, Brizzo? I'll have to go check that out. Get back in. All right, now see, by going along that edge, you see how that now has got like a convexity to it this way, instead of it just being scooped out. So since we turned it now towards this side, we'll do the same thing to this side that we just did to the other side. And that's going to be short flakes with a downward push. You're not trying to run flakes in on this. They're trying to step on me here. I got 2 or 3 in a row that did not do what they were supposed to, and it started, you can see how it started making like this little stack up area, and I don't like, that would just continue on down this entire piece if I kept taking one flake after another right next to those. So since this tip is going to have to come back this way anyway, I'm going to set up a platform at an angle and try to take a little bit of that mass off that tip, but at the same time clean up that little spot. And break it. All right. Well, we'll finish down what we got here. See, there you can see we didn't have the convexity. You see that, this area right here? That's what we were working to try to get convexity into this area. Well, like I said, this was just a warm-up piece. I'm waiting for Terry to get back in here. Kind of try to reshape this to where we can get something out of it. I've been working on some little triangle style points, and there might be enough of this left for one of those. But I gotta adjust this edge on it. This thing's lost so much mass, it's jumping now when I hit it. You gotta really lock it in there. That stuff is, it's weird that right on. That's cool, Brizzo. Congratulations, man. Looks like you're going to have to get busy. All right. I've butchered this one up enough. I do believe that there's enough in it for one of those. I don't know where I've set them now, but it'll be close. Anyway. All right. Well, Todd, I appreciate you. I'm backlogging. I got 3 more. You like to make them look like a raindrop? Right on. Well, it just depends on the type, Chris. You know, and that may be the way you like to, you know, the notching of those rounded bottom ones like that. But Todd, I'm working on. I got 3 more uploaded, I think, last night. So here within the next, the next 2 or 3 weeks, because my son is helping me upload all this to YouTube. I should have all of this stuff available, all of these lives from about a month, and then going forward I should have every day. So if you can't stay for the whole thing or you want to rewatch something, it's going to be available on YouTube. So plus then I'm working on some instructional videos that we're going to try to get out there too. So waiting on Terry said he'd be back in here. He should be out back on here, so I'll just play a little bit here till he gets back in here. I've been working on thin lately, just trying to get, you know, pushing the limits of the material. That one the other day, well, that's what I was saying when whoever it was that was in here, I won't mention their names, but I was just like, yeah, I'm going to show you a thin piece. And then I got too thin for what I was making, and now I've got it out of whack as far as the balance of it. So it's going to end up making something that's a little bit more like a lenticular, like a lancelet type point. But I'm still studying on something to make out of it. Light us the incense is about to go out there. I like to have my incense going. Oop. All right. Thank you for Buck Walls. Thank you for the follow. What's incredible, Chris? Somebody said something. I said something. Maybe I'm a little out of it. I'm slow on the uptake here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got another one here though. This is I'm gonna make like a Noonan or something like that, but this thing is crazy thin. I mean, I don't even know how. It's probably at the thickest spot, probably 6 or 7, 5 or 6 millimeters probably right there. It's the thickest spot. And then this is another one that I've been playing thin with for the width. It's well, I'm lacking a little myself, Chris. But that's another one. So you can, the two of those together, even they're been working on trying to get those profiles. But see, that's the thing is if you try to do that before you have the convexity in the piece, your flakes are just going to go out and stall in the middle of that. Here's a piece of some rough stuff. I don't know why I got that set over there. Okay. Well, like I said, I was trying to hold off until Terry got back in here, but we'll give him a few more minutes and then I'm going to start working on these pieces of horse-crete. He's back. Well, that was fortuitous. I just told him, I said, I said, I'm going to give him a few more minutes. All right. Let's see what we're working with here. Now you can see as that dried out a little bit, it's way more like a chalky texture to it. Got a little bit of a fracture kind of spot here, another spot right here. So I'll try to, some comments were in this live were filtered. Uh-oh, somebody got filtered. But see, now this is where you guys, when I talk about how in a seam, you see this right here in front of my thumb, that kind of discoloration, those iron, well, that's right along this seam that's right here. And what that is that's just evidence that the iron and other minerals have leached down into that crack, so that's, and you can tell it's an open seam, and it's probably going to break on off this direction. So what I usually, when I first start, see, you can see how that mineralization went all the way across that, where that piece was at. So that was gonna crack. Thank goodness it was just in a spot that was, because a lot of this stuff you'll get almost to the end of it. Your wife filters you all the time? Yeah, this is one of Jenny's favorite materials. She loves this material to see me working it and the points that come from it. So we're going to see if we can do this piece justice today, because it does appear that it's going to be nice working material. Got a little bit of a spot right here. We got to, yeah, that was a crack right there, but that's, looks like our better stuff is over here on this side. So that crack there, it does look like kind of like a piece of pumpkin pie now though. All right. So we're gonna work this square edge here. We're kind of thin on this side with our mass over here and a spot to get into it right here. So what I'm gonna, come on. There's just a little spot. I'm not trying to get an aggressive flake, because that'll change my contours too much. I just want to, like that, just a little starting spot to kind of get into that, and then I can start using those angles to not lose a lot of material, but still get that, you know, you can see that little zigzag has already started just within a few flakes. Well, I felt that rebound in my hand. There we go. That was deeper than I wanted, but it's on the side where we've got the most mass, so we're okay. Take some of that mass in front of that off. This is about the top limit of what I should be hitting with this. Now see, there's more of that mineralization. But this, I'm really pushing this punch a lot. I'm putting a lot of force into it. But you can see how that edge is now more sinewy and not as chunky. We've still got this mass here that we're going to have to work on, but I think I'll get that this way. Let's see, I'll take a flake there. And again, it's similar to if you're playing pool and you're trying to leave yourself the next shot. I'm trying to think about where I want to remove mass on this. So this next flake is going to be down, and then I'm going to take another flake aggressively this way so that I can come in underneath that spot there it's got like a seam or a crack. It's where when Terry was testing it looks like, but see this seam, it looks like some of that whole top may come off. So yeah, I didn't want to take as much of that as I did, but that's all right. I wanted a little bit more of a downward flake there. Mike could get some of it right here. Yeah, you can see where Terry hit that, it actually propagated. There's a seam that goes out farther into this piece. Right where that bottom of that crack was, and you can see how it goes on out. And now that may be a pressure wave from where he hit it here, but it looks like it's going to work out just fine. Set a couple of these up real quick. Now see, by zigzagging that, what I've done is I've left myself a whole bunch of platforms going back and forth either direction. That I can now come back and use those to Well, Terry, it looks like it's going to work out pretty well as I just got to get it, this side cleared off, but I should be able to get the rest of this part right here, and then the rest of it shouldn't be too bad. May lose a little bit of size to it because of the cortex over here, but all in all, it's not going to be bad. It's pretty rock. It's really good, high quality. I mean, you got an eye for what to pick up for sure. All right. Now I'm going to start at the front. I don't like, leaving the mass at the tip or the base. So I'm going to try to you see how that one just rolled in there. I'm not trying to take these big massive clearing flakes. I'm trying to blend this area of mass right here into this flatter area. That's the goal. You see how that just tapered off across there. Just little bits at a time. getting there now. But the reason they're starting to get closer is because of coffee and a nap. That's right. Good morning, Kenosha. How are you doing today? I'm dropping my... All right. That was a good one. I felt it go across my hand. Went almost to the other side. I could feel and it just traveling across the top of a little ridge there. Now I've got an area isolated in the center. You see how it's now, these are more uniform and my mass is here. So we're going to keep going along with that theme. Keeping that mass in the center and the thin, keep the ends thin. This one I think is part of that red stag. It's either red stag or well, I'm sure it's red stag because it's not elk. It's the same as that big billet that I've got. And it's working pretty good. It's going to wear down and get to a spot where it's more like, you can see how this tip here actually used to be a lot smaller than this one, but as they wear back, obviously, and this one was quite a bit longer when I first started. That's the downside to these is you will absolutely wear down your favorite tools really quick. All right, I think we're going to treat this other side almost like a square edge. It's not quite a square edge, but I don't want to take flakes directly off this side because I've already got it fairly flat over here. So I'm going to now I'm going to take one more little series here and see if I might be able to turn it and come back if I can get just the right angle started here. Clear this end off first. That one was flying there, wasn't it? I was trying to get that one to come off clean, and I elevated it up off the pad so that it would. I'm driving some pretty big flakes with this. But right here, if I take another little down flake, it's like I tell you guys, it's kind of, yeah, it does. Well, and as these wear out, Kenosha, then it's, you know, of course you're trying to find, you know, suitable replacements. So it's a never-ending battle with these kind of tools because, well, even since I've been going live, you guys have watched, you know, this rock here used to be like that big, and just, it's one of my favorite hammerstones, and I've used it and used it and used it. It's just wearing down. Now I use it for edge turning because I like the texture of it. All right, I think I'm going to take, let me get the rest of this mass off here before I start getting out of whack. See, I used that angle that I created there with those little flakes to kind of drive this up over this edge and take off some of that mass right there. I've got a spot right next to it where I can taper out and take. You can see how there's like a little bit of a, see this little valley right here, and I just want this to roll into this and thin the base, but leave that mass in the center. And I tell you what, see, a lot of times as I'm working this, I'll see an opportunity with just a little flake, because now I can take some of these across this. Now watch this, you can watch that dry out, watch it get lighter. See how that's lightening up? It is like saying goodbye to an old friend once you get used to them, Kenosha. You kind of get to where you depend on certain tools for certain stuff, and you have to revamp. Now watch. See that dark spot right here that I just took that flake? Watch it get lighter. Now it's almost the same. And what that is that moisture from soaking that is drying out, but this rock is nice and hydrated right now, and it's working really nice. But as it dries out, it's going to get to be a lot more difficult. So all I'm doing is just these nice little down flakes, trying to turn this edge to come back this way without losing a bunch of width, and without chunking up this side very bad. Yeah, this has been soaking in water, Bennett. Certain types of rock benefit from what D.C. Waldorf and some of the others call water treating instead of heat treating. And I think that it's kind of, I was discussing it earlier, but you know, this force that you put into the rock, it's kind of like a sound wave going through water. You know, it travels better through water because the water's more dense than the air. Well, if you've got a rock that's got, it's porous in nature, and you've got air or lack of, something taking up space in between the molecules of it, this particular type of rock can get to be really, really hard to work when it gets dry. I've worked a few pieces of it. To tell you the truth, when Terry said something about sending some to me, I was a little apprehensive because I have worked some that has sat around and dried and gotten really difficult to work. And when I started working the stuff that Terry sent me, it was just this beautiful, it was just working so nice. But then after a few days of having it, after I had it for a little while and it dried out, it started getting tough. So I, kind of surmised that it would benefit from some heat or water treating. And Ed was in here. We were talking to Ed Mosher, and this particular type of rock, he agrees that it absolutely will benefit from water treating, keeping it soaked or hydrated. Because Horse Creek is no joke, man. This is some difficult, it's tough material. It's beautiful, but it's tough. Definitely tough. What do you do when you make a mistake on a project? Well, Gabriel, I just try to learn from that, try to fix it if I can, and then just move on. We're gonna make, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have pieces that'll break that they may be your fault, may not be your fault, and you just continue trying to learn, if it was your fault, how not to do that again. And if it wasn't, then you just realize it's just a rock and pick up another one. Classics, 60, I am not sure. At this point, I'm just making a biface. I'm just clearing this piece off. If it holds together and is good enough quality, I think a Clovis out of this would just be gorgeous. But there's a couple of seams in it that I'm concerned that they won't. That is absolutely correct. I told the story, Kenosha. You guys are, those of you that have been in here in a lot of lives, I'm sorry I used some of the same stories, but I had a buddy of mine that we used to fish, he was wanting to do some, I used to tournament fish a lot. So he wanted to go out with me. And we're working down a bank, and I am constantly going in and have some bright. It might, it won't hurt it, Rick, I'll tell you that. It won't hurt, but I had this buddy of mine, and we were working down this bank, and I mean, we're going in constantly to untangle his bait from trees. And he told me, he said, I noticed that you don't get hung up as much, but I do see you throw it in the trees sometimes. And I said, well, you get it, you pull it up to where it's just under that branch, and it starts to swing, and then you just flick when it's out, when it's swinging out, and your bait will, come right off the tree. Because what he would do is throw it over a limb, and then he'd start yanking on it. Well, it's going to tangle. And he said, well, how did you get so good at that? And I said, from throwing in the trees. You have to throw it over a bunch of tree limbs to know how to get it off the tree limb. So, anyway, when you see me fixing a mistake, that's because Noah, I wouldn't know about it. And like I said, I think that the nethers stuff, unless it's the more coarse stuff, if it's the really glossy, real tight grain stuff, typically, I think it's more of the coarser textured rock is going to benefit more from the water treatment. That was a nice one there. But I don't know that for certain, so I mean, nothing wrong. It won't hurt anything. If you keep it in a bucket of water, it won't. Because I've been surprised, and I've told people the same thing. Our local Reed Springs that we have here is a very glossy, very beautiful material. But I noticed that it doesn't seem to work as well once I get it out of the creek beds. Yeah, and the Buffalo Will, Justin, that's this piece that I was working on like day before yesterday. It was wet, and now it's dried out, and you can see how chalky, kind of pink it is. It's coarse, but when I was working it, it was a lot darker, so it's dried out a lot. I'll probably soak that before I do any more pressure flaking on it. But yeah, I think that some of our local Reed Springs, now I know there's some stuff called, it's dolomite, that they call it siltstone some places. It will benefit from being soaked in water. So all I'm saying is it can't hurt it, I don't believe. It's a cool little flake there. There's a nice little flake there. And there he is. That's the other part of that deal that coming from this way when you first, you said you saw that crack in there, Terry. Yeah, this is gonna, looks like it's gonna be pretty clean. Right. Yeah, and that's another one of those coarser materials, Justin. I agree. That porcelainite and any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, heat treating obsidian does not work. I mean, it'll melt, but it doesn't get better than that for sure. There was that cleared out the rest of that junk that we had right there. I can get it to sit back in there. Yeah. And then that just trailed. And like I said, guys, it's, you know, when we talk about the topography and how that flake traveled in a, trying to get it to where you can see it split around that. There was a little bit of a low spot behind that. You can see this little ridge or mountain, and that went around on both sides of that and just hit the high spots. Springfield Chuck, good morning. All right. See, that one just went and almost matched up that other side. Got another one right here. Yeah, I was wanting that to run into this a little bit more, but it didn't. That's okay. We'll lead up to that. I might be able to get some of it right here. Okay. Well, thank you, Justin. I appreciate it. You know, it's just, like I said, guys, it's just time of the butt in the seat. That's all the difference. See how that one matched right up to that. I built the convexity up on that piece so that I could come up behind that and get that and kind of double flaked on me. Here's the other piece of it, but it went right up to that spot where that other one stopped short. Bill, good morning. We got a little bit of mass right here. I'm gonna set it right here and kind of at an angle. Justin, remember when I was showing you how to kind of push the angle from the side? And here's flat, I'm gonna tilt this up just like this, so that doesn't dig in, but it takes the, come the other way here. And you see how the tip is starting to get, we're getting narrow on the base and the tip with all that mass right here in the center. Thank you, Terry, I appreciate it. Yeah, this stone's working really nice. I do think my better quality stuff is on this side, so I'm gonna try to work to this side. you hear all these little flakes and you see them coming off. What I'm doing there, and when Justin was over, I kind of showed him, I'm slapping, you know, I'm reducing the mass of this rock by hitting it lower like this. When you hit down on it like this, you've got all the effective mass of this rock coming down on it. But when you hit it from a side like this and lower, the only part of that rock that's effective mass is what's above the center line where it's making contact. So you can see the farther down you hit it, the more or the less of the effective mass is making contact with it. And you're able to kind of brush that side without hitting it with the full force of that rock. And you can see these little, they're just little turn flakes, but look how clean that edge is where I'm turning that. It's not getting all chunked up, and we're starting to build a convexity. When they come off clean like that, then you know that you're not building an issue that you're going to have to fix later. Trying to build, you can see how we're, just like I tell you guys, we're working from the ends towards that mass, and I'm trying to isolate that area right here in the center. And you see this big area of mass right here. I'm trying to get that to where that's the high spot on this. So now I'm going to adjust this other edge just a little bit. You see that high angle that I'm holding that at? Not flat. I'm not trying to drive flakes. I'm just trying to turn them to get the angle so that we can come back to this area of mass in the center here. But the whole time I'm being conscious of that mass on the base and the tip. So right here I've got a flake that I can kind of go at an oblique angle and take off some mass off the base of this. And it's just an opportunistic come on. There it went. Just to kind of thin that base down and give me a little bit. Yeah, that'll work good there. Nope, didn't detach. We need one more little. I used that flake as a punch so that I didn't accentuate that issue right there. But you can see there's like a double flake. So this deep one punched another flake from this area. Otherwise, there would have been just a big, deep gouge there in the end. Now I've got, at least it removes some of the mass. That's going to help me a little bit. I'm going to try to take a little bit right here. We're just about to get some nice convexity built in it. Getting closer with every little setup here. I'm going to use this shot here to try to take this little, you can see there's like a high spot right here that's higher than anywhere else on that. And if I try to come from all the way over here and go across this flat spot and then up at the end, that flake is probably going to stop right before where that extra mass is. So I'm going to try to go at an angle here and take off the back side of that little mountain. Just like that. Now, see how that tapered in and took out that area of mass that we were talking about right there off the back? Oh, it's really good rock, Terry. It's starting to dry out. I can feel it. Thank you, Justin, or Terry, for pinning that. Furs, Spurs, and Antlers, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But you can see how now, see that convexity that built into that? It's not near as, it doesn't come over here and then go up. So now I've got a really good shot at clearing this from that side. So what we're going to do, instead of jumping right at that though, is you want to kind of clean everything up and get it organized so that you don't make a problem that you're going to have to fix later. Like I've got a little area of mass right here I want to get rid of. So the same thing, I'm going to work over to it. Steeper angles, like that flake. All right. Then we're going to do that same kind of angled shot right here. See how that took just the top of that mass off. It's not really over adjusting it. It's just taking off that stuff by the edge, and that's what I'm wanting to do. Well, there's just a little tiny platform I'm trying to grab there. I may have to pressure flake it. But anyway, you can see now we've got that serpentine edge. This area of mass that we're working here, man, there goes one. Don't like where that flake went to. It spread out. I didn't have it isolated enough, and it actually spread into that area where I was trying to get a good ridge to run. So now I'm going to come at this from the other side, try to clean that up before it gets to be a problem. Don't hit it so hard. There we go. See how that came around that and took a huge amount of that out, and it reset my ridge. And you can see what it did to the contour of the base. Now my base, I got a little bit of mass right here on the tip, but now I'm set up for a nice removal here. And I took some of that mass off the edge there to kind of discourage the flake from wrapping over and taking some more of this edge out. So it's like I told you before, if there's no mass there, then that stone blade, thank you, I appreciate it. If there's no mass there, then it has, you know, your flake can't go there. So if you want to keep the energy from going in a certain place, just remove material that would allow it to go there. So now what we've got, you see this lowered area, and it goes into a tapered spot, and this will probably taper into this a little ways. In fact, I'm going to take one more flake right here to keep that from happening, because this is the type of convexity and flake that would go and take out the other side of the point, and we really don't want that. We just want to see, I just took that and it went right up to the back side of where that mass was. And now I've got a really nice isolated spot. Now, if I hadn't removed that extra mass, like I said, you see where that flake tailed out at. It's right where I took that mass. Now, if I hadn't taken that, it would have shot, hey, stone blade, it would have gone all the way from edge to edge and probably taken out some of the margin on that other side. But as it is, what it did was see how that tapered in nice right there, and we've got another ridge right here that we can follow. I actually need to fix this tip real quick though, because we're going to get too thin everywhere else. And I don't want it to be too much mass on this tip without any kind of balance. So definitely starting to dry out though. It's getting tougher. But that's okay. We're getting closer to the end of the live, and I'll put it back in the bucket and we'll work it some more tomorrow. Well, we've got a little while, so. Trying just to get just always looking for puzzle pieces. You see this little ridge right here that kind of goes into this little area of mass that I got. I'm gonna turn this at an angle. That it didn't take as much of it as I wanted, but it did take a little bit of the mass off there. Some of it. It's getting too thin to put too much force on the tip and the base, or I'll end up breaking it. But so I'm gonna pressure fleet this out, or at least set it up that way. Man, that is not wanting to pressure flake though. It's like a, there went it, nope. There was the flake I've been working on trying to get right there. Whew. Didn't take too much, that's all right. Switch to my little finer grained sandstone now. It's not quite as aggressive on turning the edges. Man, just a little tiny spot I'm trying to grab there and it won't. Try to isolate it a little bit. Maybe it'll let loose a little easier. Guys, thank you for sharing and liking and following and subscribing and all that stuff. I sure appreciate it. Yeah, Stoneblade, I've had times when I had a bunch more viewers in here since all the stuff with the, you know, the potential ban on TikTok and all that. My viewership went way down. I had days where I'd have several hundred in here, and now it's typically, you know, anywhere around 40 to 50, but I'm not complaining. I enjoy having you guys come in. It was weird how it went from so much traffic to very little real quick. Nomad, how you doing this morning? Yeah, this thing is getting dried out. We'll pick up the other piece and put this in the bucket and then do some more work on it tomorrow. But if you know this material and it starts to dry out, it's going to start giving me problems. And I'm too far along in this piece to get too many problems, so. Yeah, working, huh? Well, me too. This is some Horse Creek. And it's making me work. Hey, I tell you what, Bill, we were all new at one point. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no stupid questions at all. And there's a difference between uneducated or unknowing and stupid. Just because you don't know how to do this doesn't mean you're stupid on it. Just means you don't know yet. And that's, you know, it's definitely something that everybody can learn. That was a really beneficial flake across the tip of that. See how much mass that removed off that tip. And it, you know, we're building like a road to these other areas of material that I want to remove. But I can tell by the texture of this, and I'm getting ready to ask quite a bit of it right here, so we're probably going to pick that other one up in just a second. I'll know after this flake. Yeah, that tapered off into that. Go. Now I should have a pretty good one right here. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of times, you know, and like Justin said, Bill, there's people watching that have got the same questions you do, but they may not ask them. And that's kind of what I was thinking. It would be a great, you know, as a perk for my subscribers, was to have once a month have just a private live where it's Q&A and right on, Damien. You have a good day too. Or we could do a kind of like almost like, you know, the private nap-ins that these guys are having, the virtual ones, but be able to have it and go over problems that you're having so you can show me. And well, see, that's the thing though, Bill, I couldn't tell you probably the first thing about trucking. I'm completely ignorant to, you know, the ins and outs of trucking, but the only difference between us, you and I, is that you spent 48 years doing it and I haven't. Well, I'm sitting in the trucker seat right now and I've been doing this for 30 years and you haven't, and that's the only difference. Is that you haven't spent the time that I have doing this. All you have to do is practice and spend some time at it, and you absolutely can learn to do this. But yeah, Justin, that's one of the things I'm trying to put together. Well, I don't like how that angle on that one is. If we get out of that one, yeah, I'm going to stop because this one is getting dried out. I can feel the texture of it. So I'm going to re-soak it. We'll work on this one some more tomorrow. You can see what we went from. It was you know, probably that thick, but we didn't lose a lot of size off of it. So we're still doing really good, but it is drying out. You can see the texture change. It's no longer glossy. It looks like that unheated buffalo, and that's the way it's working. So we're gonna put it in the water. Now hopefully this one hasn't dried out too much while we've been sitting here. But you can see this is a creek turned cobble of just rough outside, but it's got decent looking material in here. So probably going to start off with hammerstone on this. A little bit, 420 James Gang 420. A little bit. And I've got, you know, probably not from this, because I've only started back on this about 10 years ago, and especially with these tools. But, you know, I've done factory work and worked with my hands a lot my whole life. I've got tendonitis, arthritis, all kinds of, all the itises going on there with the hands. But yeah, shoulder issues, bursitis. All right. This has got its own little unique problems here. That's one end of it. It's got this big ridge here. Got all of this, you know. So what you're going to do is the same as always. You're going to look at this and try to figure out where in this rock your point lays. Realistically, with the way it's laid out, there's a couple of little seams and some stuff, but I'm going to remove this ridge here at some point, so that point's laying in this like this somehow. And that may adjust as we go along, but for right now, that's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to take some early aggressive flakes to try to come to the back side of that. Oh, this is going to be that pretty stuff. Terry, this is good looking stuff. Come on. But I'm trying not to lose a whole bunch of my edge. But we're going to isolate this right here. I have worked with Bill with some Georgetown. There's Georgetown blue, black. It's all Georgetown, but yeah, there's just some varying grades of it. You see how I'm taking these long, trying to build convexity. You guys will hear me. I preach it over and over and over again. Build the convexity, build the convexity. And then start looking for angles that you can get under the mass that you're trying to remove. Yeah, the Georgetown is a really consistent working material, Bill. If you can get some good material. There's some questionable rock dealers out there, but then there's also some really good folks. Curtis Smith, you can look him up on Facebook, and you may be able to find him just on Google search, because he's a really good resource for the Georgetown material. All right. Now, once you get it set up to where you get a little bit bigger punch. There it is. It's a good consistent material, Waylon. Now it may get, or I keep calling you. I see the Wall 8 Bill. It's a good consistent material, and it will teach you how to take that cortex off. It can be a little bit frustrating, but it is definitely a good consistent material. All right, let's see here. Let's turn this just a little. Now I'm going to try to set up, take a flake right here, and then these are going to be larger removals to try to flatten out some of this mass real quick here. See how that just curled up over the top of that mass, and now it gave me not as much of a hill to climb for here. So I could run that one this way. There's another one right beside it, but I think I'm going to take this one first. And that went up to here, got a little bit of chunk there to it, but that's okay. We'll that'll make a point. All right, getting close to the end here. Let me put it in hyperdrive for a second and see if we can get some of this major stuff off here real quick. Trying to conserve as much of this length as I can. There was a good edge to edge flattening flake. I've got that. I was going through some of my lives, Rick, and was thinking the same. I'd said that at one point to set up a different camera angle so I could show you guys working through some of this. So I will do that. Let's try to do that maybe tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Monday morning. I'll set up and I'll set up the camera over the weekend, because I got to break it down. We're going to do some filming. My wife is going to do some. For any of the ladies in here, the guys with the ladies that like the jewelry, my wife is making jewelry, and she's going to be doing some of the jewelry, box reveals and stuff where she's ordering stuff. So we're going to be resetting up the camera setup. So that way I can, when I go back to set it up for Monday, I'll set it up and we'll see if we can't do some some points, flake points. So we'll plan on that on Monday. If you guys will join back on Monday. All right. Sorry, I'm not explaining a lot of this, guys. I just was trying to get it kind of cleared off and bifaced for you here on the camera. Para que hace eso. I don't. ¿Cómo se dice flint napping en español? Arrowhead. ¿Cómo se dice? Okay, we've got one more little edge here of kind of a rough turned edge. I'm gonna see if we can just work that almost like a square edge back and forth. Come on. There it went. Absolutely, James and James gang. We will on Monday. I'll set up and we'll do some flake points and stuff. But thank you, I appreciate it, Eddie. So you can see where we got it to at that point, you know. Just a few more zigzag flakes on this piece. And we would be ready to start isolating mass and building convexity. Same as I always tell you what we're going to do. You know, it's a system. Now there's that whole edge gone out, serpentine, and I've got areas of you know, any of these little low areas that are pointed towards an area of mass. Then you can use that as a platform to keep removing mass as we go around that thing. Got a little bit more right here. That one, didn't like the way that ended up. Anyway, I'm rushing because we're at the end here. I'll put that back in the water. That's where we're at right now with that. Really nice piece, and we'll work on it some more tomorrow. So guys, that's the end of the live today. I appreciate you coming in. If you want to see some jurors, if you want to see some of my finished stuff, go to my profile right here, and I've got all my finished stuff in there. So if you want to see them finalized or the finished pieces, that's where I've got a lot of it posted. Guys, thank you. I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves and those around you. Keep on chipping.